Dogma. Dogma is defined as a set of principles laid down by an authority as incontrovertibly true. I'm learning more and more now that life is just a game of priorities. Nothing really is entirely good or bad, and so we as people operate on the basis of preference, through a self-defined hierarchy of values. This entails a serious balancing of pros and cons when it comes to making major life decisions, or eventually recognizing what the muse compels you to do and allowing it to guide you in foregoing safety. But increasingly now, to win means not only victory for one side, but the complete demolition of the other. We are becoming completely incapable of saying, yes, I can perfectly see why you came to that decision, but my priorities are placed elsewhere, and so I chose differently. Nowadays, politics is the battleground where the fanning of dogmatic flames is encouraged most. But that's not the point. The point is that now more than ever, there is a pervading dogmatism emerging in society, most worryingly in institutions supposedly most equipped to fight it in the first place. To be absolutely convinced of anything is to risk being blind to the exchanges of good faith that we need as people to grow. Dogmatism is dangerous insofar as it closes the mind. It strips the colour from life because everything can be seen from this black and white binary lens. I wouldn't say that dogmatism is in any way individual to this time though. I think it just so happens that this time is at a peak on the fluctuating waves of history. The interesting question to me is why? Why has dogma become so pervasive? One answer is prosperity. I stumbled upon one quote online recently that encapsulated all of this. It was a young Swede saying, "We've solved so many problems, we have to make them up." That is the St. George complex. When, having slain the dragon and received all the praise of the town, St. George, seeking out similar success, tries to find another dragon, but then he realizes that there is no such dragon, and so contents himself with seeking out smaller and smaller monsters, so much so that by the end of it, St. George is seen slashing a sword at thin air. Commentators love to compare the UK and always talk about how horribly we're doing compared to any kind of Scandinavian country, the perfect land of prosperity and equality. But it makes you wonder whether these countries, the most equal and prosperous in the world, fail to address a vital human need, that of struggle. Today, if leaders proclaim the same as Winston Churchill did, in promising only blood, toil, tears and sweat, then their intentions are rarely as honourable. To me, dogmatism is like addiction. It's a symptom. It's not the crux of the issue. It's simply whatever kind of form is applicable to the void that a person leaves in their life. This all comes down to how it is far easier to force your ideology on someone or lament about the incapacity caused by your hard drug use than to face the fact that you have a novel to write. In the words of Erich Fromm, can freedom become a burden, too heavy for a man to bear, something he tries to escape from? Is there not also, perhaps, besides an innate desire for freedom, an instinctive wish for submission? Dogma is exactly that. It is the fear of freedom. Stephen Pressfield's resistance, Sigmund Freud's death wish, Julia Cameron's censor, Alexander Solzhenitsyn's heart of two halves, they all relate to the same thing, and that is a being that is scared of its own potential. Dogma is the hyperactive order that places all of the answers right in front of the individual without going inside. That is its appeal. If they won't pray to a Christian God that has been provided to our predecessors, then they will pray to another God, one that relieves them of their freedom, the burden of their autonomy. The mob cries, "We love our leader because we are free of freedom." If nothing else, the rise of dogmatism in our modern society has shown that modern man is more afraid of life than he is of death, is more afraid of freedom than he is of tyranny, and he is more afraid of himself than he is of the external world. To reject dogma will mean that at times you will lead a lonely and certainly uncomfortable life. But doing just that would make us realize just how much of our normal lives are meaningless and illusory, and allow us to properly focus in on what is truly important. Follow your bliss, do the work. These are all imperatives to connect to our higher selves and develop our character. There is truly nothing else.
You can't say that 2 and 2 make 4 without people knocking on your door. It's the end of the world as we know it. Ooh. Loving hearts are too afraid to show it. Ooh, it's the end of the world.